Hey guys, Mike here. So today's cult classic review is 1982's Blade Runner, starring Harrison Ford as Rick Deckard. In Blade Runner, Rick Deckard is a former Blade Runner who specialises in hunting androids known as replicants. However, after a group of replicants go missing and start killing a bunch of people, the police call him back on to be a Blade Runner once more to hunt them down and terminate them by any means necessary. And so we have Blade Runner. So guys, this is the first movie in this series that before watching it today to review it, I had actually seen it before. And the reason I watched this movie is so I'd be able to watch Blade Runner 2049. And Blade Runner 2049 is a movie that I think is really good, great cinematography, decent acting, and I think is the perfect sequel to this movie. However, despite all those things, I didn't really like it all that much because I thought the pacing was really slow and the story was just kind of dull, which is the exact reaction I had the first time I watched Blade Runner. But still, I acknowledge that it was a really good movie, but I just didn't really like it all that much. So, reviewing it today, has my opinion changed of the movie? I would definitely say that I do think a lot more of this movie. Now, I've never really thought much of Harrison Ford as an actor. He's definitely a good actor, but I wouldn't put him on the same level as, say, Leonardo DiCaprio or Christian Bale or anyone like that. And in this movie, he is definitely serviceable. He doesn't really do or say anything particularly amazing to make him really stand out to me. He just kind of goes to a scene, says what he needs to say, does what he needs to do, and just kind of moves on without kind of really leaving an impact on me. But I'd say kind of the biggest problem I have with Harrison Ford's character is that they say that he's supposed to be this great Blade Runner, one of the best that they've ever seen, but he never really shows that. In Blade Runner, he hunts 4 different replicates. The first one he only manages to defeat because as the replicant's killing him, someone else walks in, so the replicant runs away and he shoots it in the back. Not exactly an amazing feat. The second one, someone else kills it as it's trying to kill him. Again, not amazing. But I'd say the third one has to be the worst for me because she has him right in the middle of his legs, punching him, choking him, and then she decides to drop him, run 20 feet across the room to do some somersaults at him, allowing him to get his gun and shoot her. And honestly, this has to be one of the stupidest things I've ever seen in a movie. I don't know if really anyone can make the argument saying, oh, she was getting defective, she wasn't thinking clearly. But honestly, it was just absolutely ridiculous, and it was another dumb luck thing that he was allowed to, come out alive in this situation. And then with the 4th and final replicant, he got really lucky, he was running away, and basically it just gave up the fight. Which, to be fair, is a good scene, and I really like the speech that the replicant gives. But ultimately, it just keeps adding to this whole thing of him not being an amazing Blade Runner. Sure, his detective skills are fine, and he does figure out the case and where to go next and what they're going to do next and stuff like that. But as an actual hunter, he doesn't really seem all that great, unless the other Blade Runners are even worse than he is. And I have to say, for a movie that's nearly 40 years old, it still looks quite good to this day. Sure, some of the effects are a little bit dated, but honestly, the movie has this certain kind of timeless charm to it where you can kind of look past that and just see this as a really immersive world. But the biggest thing I do take away from Blade Runner is more the discussion around the movie itself. Such things like, what does it mean to be human? Are we really free? Stuff like that. And though Blade Runner doesn't necessarily make it the sole focus of the movie, it is something that it does kind of bring to a conversation. So, do I think that Blade Runner is a cult classic, and would I consider it a personal cult classic? The first time I watched this movie, I would honestly been really stuck to see why anyone really loved this movie. And honestly, after watching it, I just never wanted to see it again. And I thought I was going to have a really bad time watching it again today. But I have to tell you guys that I really like this movie the second time round. And I can honestly see why people really love this movie. But for myself, I still wouldn't put it as a personal cult classic. Nor do I personally think that this is a great movie. But I can definitely see why people absolutely love this one. This movie deserved to have a sequel made. And honestly, after watching this today, I might even give Blade Runner 2049 another chance. Maybe. Someday. But as it stands right now, Blade Runner is a really good movie that, honestly, I think you should check out because you can see a lot of inspiration that modern sci-fi makers have taken from this movie. Okay guys, that's my cult classic review of Blade Runner. Have you seen it? Do you like it? Do you love it? Whatever you think, drop it in the comments below. And until next time, I've been Michael. See ya!